What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from Põhjala, and they're out of Tallinn, Estonia, and this is their Château Noir, and this is a part of their Cellar Series. So they're calling this one a barrel-aged Imperial Baltic Porter, and then underneath that on the label it says a vinous Imperial Baltic Porter aged in 2017/18 Bordeaux red wine barrels and Pedro Ximénez barrels. It comes in at 12% alcohol by volume, 45 IBUs at the time of review. I don't know exactly how old this bottle is, but on their Instagram and Untapped page, they gave an indication that this one was released in late January/early February of 2022. We are now in early January of 2023. So I'm going to say that this bottle is just under 1 year old. So Põhjala, this is the first beer that I am reviewing from them on the channel, but it is not the first beer I've ever had from them. I've had a couple off camera, and I just really dig what they do. Very fun brewery. And this one showed up maybe a couple months ago, and at one of my favorite local bottle shops of choice, Premier Gourmet, Kenny, who works there, recommended this one to me. He says, it's delicious, you should try it out. And when I looked at it and read the label, and I was like, yeah, this just sounds like it's going to be fun. It might not be amazing, but it's going to be fun at the very least. And that's what Põhjala does, is make some fun beers. But a lot of them I've had have been just delicious. So I'm expecting this one to be very good. We will see. Now, it had, all the wax on here, so I did pre-cut it so we don't have an accident on camera. An accident for me could be a life-threatening situation, so I'm trying to be safe, off camera by cutting that wax. But anyway, so this is probably close to a year old, and I think it'll just add to it. It's part of their Cellar Series, which indicates to me, I don't know what that exactly means, other than do they just keep this in the cellar for a while? I don't know. Anyway, let's pour it in the glass, see what we got going on. Oh, it's pouring out like motor oil. Try to build a head here if I can. Yeah, we'll do something like that. Oh yeah, building a little bit of a head here. So we will put this over here like this. Very cool, kind of label. I just like the label. It's nice. Anyway, that looks beautiful. So I think I'm not a big wine drinker at all. I very rarely drink a wine, but I know Pedro Ximénez, I'm pretty sure it's sherry, and I like sherry quite a bit. I don't have it all that often, but I like sherry. To me, sherry is, just like a sweeter kind of red wine. So I'm hoping that this has more of that Pedro Ximénez barrels than the Bordeaux wine barrels, but I don't know. Regardless, I think it's gonna be fun. So anyway, look at that. It's pitch black. It's pitch black for sure. Can't see through it. Has about a finger of a super luxurious, creamy, brown colored head. Looks fantastic. Starting to dissipate a little bit. It's 12%, so probably not going to hang around the entire time, but that just looks like a gorgeous beer, honestly. And I love this Bellwoods glass, this wine glass. Reason I use it is I just think beer like this should be in something like this. Anyway, let's get a nose. What the fuck? It smells crazy. Oh my God. Oh my God. What? All right. Time out. Gotta go to the bench. Gotta rein it in a little bit. I went in for 3 different aromas, 3 different sniffs, and I got 3 different things, and they're all crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. The first thing I got was chocolate-covered cherries, but chocolate-covered, dried cherries, I would say, more than anything else. Then I went back, and I got a big blast of fudgy chocolate. But again, the cherries are there, and then other red fruit is kind of hanging out as well. Maybe raspberries, maybe a dark stone fruit. And then the third time, I got this big umami blast of salted caramel, but an umami. This is going to sound disgusting, but almost like a soy sauce drizzled salted caramel. Yes, I know that does not probably sound great for most of you, but how it works in the nose and how my brain is processing it smells fucking cool. All right, so the barrels are here. Is it vinous? Yes. It has that red wine kind of vinous quality to it. Definitely noticeable. There's a little bit vanilla and oak from the barrel itself. That sherry, I think, is producing that sherry that. It almost feels like there's cherries in here. The sherry's giving me cherries, raspberries, sweeter berries on top of it. And then underneath it, there's fudgy, like I said, fudgy chocolate. There's caramel. There's toffee. There's molasses. There's almost, and I don't say this in a lot of reviews, but there's almost like a pipe tobacco. I'm not somebody that has ever tried tobacco, period. what might, what do you mean? I've never had tobacco ever, whether it's, cigar, pipe tobacco, cigarettes, whatever. Never had it because just never been really, I never really cared to, right? But I've had family members who have smoked cigars and pipe tobacco, and this has like that distinct kind of pipe tobacco aroma to me. I can't say taste because, again, never had it, but the aroma, definitely. A little bit of leather tones. And then there's an umami. There's a slight soy sauce, just umami character. It's just kind of, it smells fucking awesome. It's all over the place. I would not necessarily say the aroma is cohesive, but everything I'm getting is awesome. I wish it worked better, like in conjunction with everything else, but it's making my mouth water a lot. But it has like this really deep, rich character, very complex, but it's like not overbearing with the sweetness. This doesn't smell like a pastry stout or something, like when you get those sweetness with a bunch of different adjuncts. It just has a richness of sweetness from the malt itself. Yeah, I don't know. This smells awesome. And they say to serve it at 54 to 60. My dark beer fridge is at 54, so this is probably right in that range. So anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. That is fucking delicious. Absolutely delicious. That aftertaste is so different. Wow. Wow. Let's start off with the body mouthfeel like I always do. Body, I will say this is the one critique I have of this one. Because of everything, the complexity, the richness, the deep flavor components of this one, I would want this to be more of like a thick, viscous, chewy kind of mouthfeel. Body. It's not. It's more like low to medium full. So it's a bit thin for what I'm hoping for out of this beer. Now it's a 12% barrel-aged beer. So maybe I shouldn't expect like a chewy beer, but I think the flavors dictate a more viscous kind of body, and I'm not getting that exactly, so that's a little bit of a hindrance. The mouth feels fantastic. It's like mild to moderately carbonated, but it's so smooth, and there's almost a nice creaminess on the palate that it slides across the palate just extremely well. Beautiful mouthfeel on this one. So body, bit thin, mouthfeel, spectacular. The taste, this might be a 20-minute review, just warning you right now. Like, I cannot properly describe this beer in a couple minutes. It's just all over the place, but in such a fantastic way. Front of the palate, there's a lot of like fruit characters, but it's crazy how complex the fruit character is. Like I said in the nose, there's a lot of cherry. There's dried cherry. There's maraschino cherry. There's black cherry. It's sweet, but almost tannic. It's all at the front of the palate. As it continues through, I'm getting cranberry, a little bit of like a cranberry. Other nondescript, like red berries, you could say raspberry, you could say strawberry, boysenberry. You could say a lot of different berries in general, but I'm getting just that fruity kind of character. That's all at the forefront. Underneath that is roasted malt. There's roasted coffee. There is a sweet, kind of dark, fudgy chocolate component. There's molasses, there's caramel, there's fucking toffee. There's just a lot of malt-driven characters in this beer, which this is one of the most complex beers I've had on my channel in terms of like just sheer amount of characters getting thrown at me right now. There's almost a salinity giving me that salted caramel. This is all at the front of the palate, which is just crazy. Halfway through the palate, that's where more of the barrel picks up, but it's more of like, you're actually knowing it's the barrel as opposed to just like that fruitiness, like that cherry and like the different berries at the front of the palate. I think that's coming from the red wine and the sherry cask, but I'm not sure if that is correct or not, because about halfway, 2/3 of the way through your palate, I'm getting a vinous red wine kind of barrel. There's a little bit of vanilla. There's a little bit of oak. And I feel like the sherry casks are there and just like amping up like the vinous nature of the beer. There's almost a brownie batter-esque kind of feel to this one. Again, underlying pipe tobacco, leather. There is just an insane amount of things happening in this beer that my brain cannot process. And again, this is not like a super cohesive, like everything's melding together in such a perfect harmony. It's kind of disjointed, but this is one of the few disjointed beers that I actually am thoroughly enjoying. Like I'm drinking the rest of this tonight. I was going to maybe cap it and drink the rest tomorrow. Don't think so. Checking it right now. This is just, like, I want the rest of this. This is fantastic. Shout out to the Sun Pump. You'll see this in a lot of reviews, but the Sun Pump will probably go off a couple different times. It's doing its job. A lot of rain here, a lot of snow melting, whatever. If you hear like a humming noise for like 5 seconds, it's the Sun Pump because it's right on the other side of the wall. 12%. Yeah, there's a warming in the chest. Chest? Did I just say chest? Yeah, I think this is already getting me hammered. There's a warming into the chest. And there's nothing on the palate. Like, I know this is a bigger beer based on everything that's happening in terms of the characters of the beer itself, but there's nothing on the palate that would indicate an astringency of alcohol 12%. So it hides it relatively well, but I'm starting to feel a little buzz. This finish is semi to full on dry. There's a very mild bitterness. This is more, I would say this is more full on dry than it is any kind of bitterness. It's sweet and decadent, but it's not like cloying. It's not confectionery. It's more of like that. Shout out to a good friend of mine, a fellow beer tuber, Matt over at Massive Beers. He likes to say like adult sweetness. That's what this is. I fucking love this beer. I do. Here's the question I'm having in terms of rating this. And I always say ratings don't matter, but like in my own mind, for myself, it matters. And this is going to be probably on the... Did I spill some over here? I did. It doesn't matter. This is going to be on the best beers of 2023 list. It should be, because I don't think there's going to be, 22 other beers that knock it off if it's perch. This, I'm debating between like a 4.8, 4.95, 4.8, 4.9, or a 5. Here's the thing. Does the body of this beer bother me enough to stop this from getting a 5 out of 5? Château Noir, part of the Cellar Series from Põhjala. No qualms whatsoever of giving this a 5 out of 5. This is a 5 out of 5 beer. I did not think I would give this a 5 out of 5. I thought it would be pretty fucking good. It's Põhjala. They make good beers. I thought, hey, this is going to be a pretty good beer, right? This is awesome for what I want. This is where I said earlier in the review, when it comes to Põhjala, they make fun beers, but also delicious beers. This is a perfect example. I have not experienced anything like this in a while, especially from something that's like a shelfie. And I say that as we get Põhjala obviously imported, but like they're not flying off the shelves. I can probably go to Premier and they probably still have bottles of this left right now, a couple months after I bought it. I don't know. I'm talking my ass, but a lot of Põhjala stuff doesn't show up and just fly off the shelf. It's not like you're searching out crazy Bourbon County variants or whatever. So the fact that I can just grab something like this from Põhjala and it's a 5 out of 5 for me just speaks volumes of how good they are. And I need to review more from them. So I'm going to this year. Definitely going to review some more from them. It's a 5 out of 5 all day long. If you've had this beer before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Quick price and availability. I paid $13.99 for that bottle. I'm usually one of those max of like an ounce or $1 per ounce. So I think this is 11.2 fluid ounce bottle. Yep. So I shouldn't be paying more than $11.20 or like $11.50 or something for that. I paid $14 and I would do it again tomorrow. I'd do it the next day after. It's imported, from Estonia. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'll pay the whatever the extra $2, $3, $4 it costs to grab something like this of this quality. And after drinking this all day, every day, and availability, I have no idea with Põhjala. Põhjala is one of those breweries where we see stuff, occasionally. This showed up a couple. I want to say this showed up in like late October, early November of 2022, and they released this one again in late January, early February of the same year. So it took them like 8 or 9 months for this beer to show up here in the U.S. And I don't give a shit because it showed up and it's still fucking phenomenal. So, yeah, I'm going to shut it down. Again, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. I'm going to sip on the rest of this. I'm already feeling good. I'm going to feel great by the end of the night. And yeah, another Põhjala beer in the books, because I have reviewed 7,000 of them on the channel. It's the first one, and it's not going to be the last. Anyway, shutting it down. Sorry for the long review, but when you give a beer a 5 out of 5, I feel like if I have a 15 to 20 minute review, it just speaks to the quality of the beer. There's no way I could review this beer in like 8 to 10 minutes. It's just not going to happen. It's me who talks a lot, but on top of that, the beer deserves a lot longer of a review and more praise than like a, like a 6 to 8 minute review or something. Like, anyway, shut it down. Anyway, till the next one. Cheers.